This dinner is specifically prepared for the rich people, but offers only plates with a few sauces, no bread or steak in sight. When the guests are confused, the head chef introduces today's special ingredient, his prized apprentice. Before the guests can react, the apprentice ends his life and is then taken to the kitchen. Shortly after, fresh meat is served, but by then the guests are horrified. One man insists on leaving the restaurant but is stopped by security. For disrupting the meal, his pinky finger is removed. It is only then that the guests realize they have entered into a dangerous situation. The story begins at a unique restaurant named Hawthorne, located on a secluded island, renowned for its unique dining environment and fresh ingredients, highly sought after by the wealthy. Owned and operated by Julian Slowick, who holds all culinary honors, he has prepared this high-end dinner several months in advance, available only to 12 diners at a costly ticket price. A young wealthy man named Tyler plans to bring his girlfriend Margot to the dinner as a surprise. The couple arrives at the island by boat, accompanied by other wealthy elites, including a food critic and her editor, a movie star and his personal assistant, and 3 wealthy business partners. Another wealthy couple, Richard and Anne, also join the group, and it seems Margot and Richard recognize each other from somewhere. Soon, the guests arrive at their destination, and the hostess Elsa welcomes them to the island. She then leads the guests to the restaurant while giving them a tour of the island. The guests also visit the living area of the restaurant staff. Elsa says the staff are like family and work from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. every day. Finally, the guests enter the restaurant and take their seats. In the open kitchen, several chefs are meticulously preparing dinner, paying great attention to detail. Before leaving, Elsa instructs the guests not to take photos of the dishes, as Chef Slowick says the beauty of his creations lies in their transience. Next, Chef Slowick comes to the kitchen, and Elsa informs him about Tyler's unregistered guest, Margot. Here, we learn that Tyler booked 2 tables at the restaurant a year ago while he was dating someone else. This means that technically, Margot is not registered. Slowick is clearly displeased, but decides to let it go. Meanwhile, the dinner consists of 6 courses, and the first course has already been served. As the guests begin to eat, Tyler secretly snaps a photo of the delicious dish. Everyone praises the dish, but Margot is unimpressed. Subsequently, the staff serve the second course, and Chef Slowick finally addresses the guests. He urges everyone not to eat, but to taste, savor, and feel. He then explains the dish and its significance to the guests. Margot cannot understand the chef's monologue, but for some reason, it brings Tyler to tears. Despite being afraid of offending the chef, he continues to take photos. Tyler says he has fallen in love with the place, but Margot denigrates the food, calling it mediocre. Following that, the chef serves the guests 5 different sauces in minuscule portions. However, he does not provide them with bread, as he considers it peasant food. The businessmen find this absurd and demand bread. Elsa firmly denies their request, and the group threatens to ruin the restaurant, claiming they are friends with the investors. Nonetheless, Elsa still refuses to give them bread and tells them that they will eat what is given to them. On the other hand, Margot dislikes the concept and refuses to eat. This catches the chef's attention, and he asks if everything is all right. Margot bluntly tells him there is nothing edible. After the awkward encounter, the chef approaches an elderly woman dining alone. It turns out she is his mother. Meanwhile, Margot keeps watching the wealthy Richard. This arouses suspicions in his wife Anna, but he quickly alleviates her concerns. After a while, the chef introduces the next dish, called Memory. He recalls the day his father comes home drunk and argues with his mother. The situation quickly escalates, and Slowick's father strangles her with a phone cord. However, at the crucial moment, the young Slowick stabs his father's thigh with scissors. The guests find this story unsettling, but they think it is fake and brush it aside. Soon, they are served home-smoked meats and tortillas. Surprisingly, each tortilla bears a pattern that evokes deep memories for the guests. The food critic's tortilla has a picture of a restaurant she reviewed, which is closed down because of her review. The movie actor's tortilla shows an image of his worst work, and similarly, the businessman's tortillas have details of their illegal bank accounts. They immediately call Elsa, demanding to know how the restaurant discovered these details, even threatening to shut it down. However, Elsa refuses to reveal any information and walks away. Meanwhile, Anna's tortilla has a photo of Richard with a strange young woman. She demands Richard explain, but he insists he doesn't know what the photos mean. Tyler's tortilla has a photo of him previously secretly taking pictures of Slowick's food. He panics, unsure whether he should apologize to Slowick. However, Margot is very angry about the chef doing such a thing, insisting on sending the food back to the kitchen. Tyler rudely orders her to stop, reminding her that he paid for the meal. This upsets Margot, and she walks away. In the restroom, the chef comes and asks who she is. She introduces herself as Margot, but Slowick keeps saying she shouldn't be here tonight. Later, Margot returns to her seat, and Chef Slowick begins introducing his disciple Jeremy, who is apparently the creator of the next dish. He praises Jeremy momentarily, but suddenly his attitude changes, and he begins to speak rudely. Slowick says Jeremy will never become a great chef because he only wants to be a stand-in. Just then, Jeremy does something incredible. Everyone is shocked and frightened, but Slowick tells them it is part of the performance. After a while, they return to their seats, but Richard insists on leaving. Elsa repeatedly asks him to return to his seat, but he refuses. As a result, the restaurant staff captures him and chops off his ring finger, stunning everyone. Subsequently, the restaurant warns the guests that if they dare to escape or disrupt the chef's meticulously planned dinner, they will face even more severe punishment. At this point, panic sets in among the guests, but Tyler remains undisturbed, continuing to relish his dinner. Soon after, Margot is called into the kitchen by Slowick, who asks her again who she is. He demands honesty because her unplanned presence has disrupted everything about the dinner he has carefully orchestrated. He also tells her that everyone present tonight will die. Slowick gives Margot 15 minutes to decide whether she wants to die with those who give or with those who take. Terrified and crying, she returns to her table. Before the next course begins, Slowick allows his captive guests to ask him questions, and one man asks why he is doing this. Slowick explains that for various reasons, he has grown tired of running the restaurant. He has lost passion for his craft, and every guest present tonight is more or less responsible for this. The food critic is invited because her negative reviews have shut down many businesses, and her editor is complicit in her actions. Meanwhile, Richard and Anne are regulars at the restaurant, but they never appreciate the food. Slowick wagers that the couple cannot name a single dish he has prepared for them. He then tells everyone about the angel who funds the restaurant. It is revealed that outside, Slowick has that person suspended over the water. He says this person has an unhealthy obsession with profits and has repeatedly disparaged the restaurant's menu. Under the horrified gaze of everyone, Slowick drowns the man in the water. After 15 minutes, he calls Margot into the office and asks her to make a decision. She claims she does not belong there, so he should let her go. However, Slowick groups her with the staff, saying he can easily tell her background is not wealthy. He then asks her about her relationship with Richard, as she has been staring at him all night. Finally, Margot confesses that she is actually an escort, her real name being Erin. Richard is a former client who has paid her well. Hearing this, Slowick expresses sympathy for her situation and mentions he too has had bad customers. He says he used to love cooking, but now lacks the motivation. Before serving the next course, Chef Slowick asks Tyler to reveal why he came here. Unexpectedly, Tyler says he has been longing to dine at this restaurant for months, and when he finally got the chance, he persisted, despite being informed beforehand that everyone would die. Tyler also reveals that he invited Erin because he had reserved a table for two, and his reservation would have been canceled if he came alone. This infuriates Erin, who attacks Tyler, but the staff quickly intervenes and calms her down. After a while, Slowick calls Erin to his office and asks her to help prepare the final course, the dessert. The first task is for her to fetch a barrel from the smokehouse, which she reluctantly agrees to do. Meanwhile, the movie star stands up and demands to know why he is being punished. Slowick reveals that he has watched the actor's movie Dr. Sunshine and hated it. He explains that he watched the movie on a busy Sunday several years ago, and it completely ruined his mood. Slowick admits that the actor's appearance in the movie has been haunting him ever since. Elsewhere, Erin does not go to the smokehouse, but instead breaks into Slowick's cabin, where she encounters a locked room. She tries to enter, but soon Elsa appears, wielding a knife and confronting her. After a struggle, Erin accidentally kills Elsa. She is horrified by the incident, but she quickly composes herself and uses Elsa's keys to enter Slowik's room. Inside the room, she sees photos and newspaper articles about Slowik, along with numerous awards he has received over the years. In all the photos, he appears sad and angry, except for one from his teenage years working at a fast food chain where he was once named Employee of the Month. There, he had made burgers and received recognition. Next, Erin notices a radio in the room and uses it to alert the Coast Guard about everything. Then she returns to the restaurant with the barrel. Slowik again asks Erin to sit down and explains that he does all this because a chef should provide delicious food to customers. But people want not just tasty food, but an experience. Because of this, many chefs do not work with love but under pressure, and as a result, the art of cooking is set aside. Soon, a Coast Guard officer arrives, and before letting him into the restaurant, Slowik warns everyone not to betray him. The officer tells Slowik that he has received complaints about multiple murders occurring here, but the cunning chef replies that everything is normal. Just then, the officer recognizes the movie star and asks for his autograph. The actor happily obliges and takes the opportunity to talk about Slowik. After hearing everything, the officer draws a gun and threatens to shoot the chef. Finally, all the guests breathe a sigh of relief and begin to tell the officer everything. Unfortunately, they discover that the officer is holding a fake gun, which makes all the restaurant staff laugh. Slowik then reveals that the officer is one of his chefs, posing as a Coast Guard officer. He also tells Erin that he knows she tried to call for help. Slowik then begins to serve the final course, but Erin quickly devises a plan. Erin tells Slowik she does not like his dish and wants to send it back. This displeases Slowik, who asks her what she dislikes about his food. Erin responds that he has taken the joy out of eating, and everything he offers is merely an intellectual exercise, not something people want to sit down and enjoy. She mentions that his food lacks the taste of love. Ultimately, Erin states that he not only fails, but also makes her feel bored and still hungry. This comment wounds the mad chef's pride, and he asks her what she wants to eat. Seizing the opportunity, Erin requests a traditional American cheeseburger and some fries. An incensed Slowik quickly goes to the kitchen to start cooking. While cooking, he reminisces about his happier times when he was younger. After a while, the burger is ready, and he serves it to Erin. Unexpectedly, she thoroughly enjoys it, and ultimately even compliments his food. This is one of his happiest moments in decades. Then Erin tells him that the food he prepared is more than she can eat, and asks if she can take the leftover burger with her. After thinking it over, Slowik agrees to pack the remaining food for her. Erin breathes a sigh of relief and leaves Slowik a tip before departing. As she is leaving, she pauses slightly, looking at the other guests, unsure whether to leave them to fend for themselves, but Anna encourages her to save herself. After Erin leaves, Slowik thanks everyone for dining and reveals that each person represents the destruction of his art and life. Now they can become a part of it. He hopes it will be a masterpiece. Slowik and his team of chefs then prepare the final course, allowing every guest who ultimately accepts their fate to be a part of it. Finally, he ignites everyone present, including himself. Meanwhile, Erin leaves the island by boat as Hawthorne is consumed by flames.